Hello, my Buell friends. Today is the fourth episode of converting my '09 Buell 1125R into a CR. So, off camera, did a little cleanup. I threw on this just kind of junk home painted windscreen I had laying around that I got with a bunch of other used parts. And actually, I recently received the new windscreen right here, the Midnight Black. I'll be throwing that on hopefully in this video. But to start, I want to bleed the clutch. We'll unscrew the bleeder. I have just some like super cheap brake bleeder vacuum pump deal that'll work for this. I'll have to figure out some .4 fluid somewhere. Yeah, .4. And while I am doing that, I have a new clutch puck or clutch casing puck to put on here. This one's pretty gross and somebody definitely painted this. So frequently what happens is you get the clutch weep on this thing and it eats the paint away, or somebody lays the bike down, scratches it up. Could have been a combination of both. Either way, somebody painted that and it looks terrible. So for like 30, 35 bucks, I have a replacement. I've never replaced one of these before, so I'm hoping I can just kind of pry this one off and push this one on. Now it does look like there would have been some form of a Pegasus logo inside here. So I don't remember offhand. I don't know, I may just leave it as is, or I may find the actual thing that goes here online, but for now, I'm not going to worry about that. Along with this video, I plan to finally, which I feel like I've been saying for 2 videos now, reroute this brake hose. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can retain, but that's kind of a far shoot to go. We shall see, and maybe we'll button up a couple other things. But for starters, let's go ahead and bleed this clutch. Suck out this old fluid and just go ahead and replace it. And ideally we'd want the bike as upright as possible, but I don't have stands for this thing yet, so unfortunately this will have to do while we bleed it, but whenever we go to top it off, I'll make sure the bike's level. Quite honestly, this brake bleeder system is rather trash. I don't even know if this thing's going to build pressure. Yeah, this thing kind of sucks. So pretty much what I'm going to use this for is just collection of the fluid. Actually, maybe that did it. There we go, it's a little better. I mean, I guess we'll see how far this gets us. Worst case, I'll just go ahead and manually pump the master cylinder and we'll crack this bleeder open. So one reason why this thing is so terrible is that frequently you get air coming in behind this. So I think I'm just gonna manually bleed this and use this just to collect the brake fluid. So it actually feels pretty good right now. Man, look at that crap that came out. I don't know if that's clutch material or what. Of course, made a friggin' mess. Look how nasty this fluid is. And what is that came out? That's disturbing. So looking at this one, it looks like it's just held in with pressure. And of course, don't want to mess up the casing, but trim removal tool in here, see what happens. Yikes, that is gross. It's kind of interesting. The original one is, I would say, aluminum, definitely metal, whereas the new one is just some composite plastic of some sort. Looks like there's an O-ring. All right, put a little oil on the O-ring like you would an oil filter. this little guy in the 12 o'clock position, and we'll see what happens. Now time to break loose this front caliper hose. Moment of truth, whether this fits or not. Snake it in behind here. Cable brackets. Looks like that will work. Got the Torx bolt here. We'll run that through. Tighten her down. Now that both the hydraulic clutch and the front brake system are now bled, well, I think we're kind of on to the final touches. We're going to ditch this nasty home painted disaster of a front windscreen, and we'll replace it with a brand new midnight black windscreen. Whoops. Here we go. Here's the new one. Get off the protective film. Need to figure out how to take out this rear lock for this seat here. What I'm thinking is to take off this cover. We'll take off the back seat, undo these two Torx screws, and then maybe look underneath the tail, see what's holding it. And I imagine there's some other screws holding this on underneath this rear pylon. So we'll start with these two T30 screws here. Like another T30 right here. Got another one on each end, right in front of the rear sets. Now with those 5 bolts removed, 2 here, 2 down here, 1 right here, hoping this can shimmy off here. But we shall see. Okay, look at that. Exposes the lock that we're after. Look at that. Actually removes pretty easily. So that's the old one. I have the new one identical to it. Put the arm in. Wiggle it in place. We'll take this bracket, slide it over. Now I need to Spin this down. Okay, and there's a notch there. It only goes one way into the plastic. Same thing with this bracket. However, I'm going to try to do a combination of things here. Slip in the cable as well as rotate that. I think we are in. And lastly, just need to slide in this clip. Let's test it. Look at that. It's actually really simple. Now just reverse order. Get ready for reinstallation. This can be rather tricky because this lip here has to go underneath here on both sides. So I don't know if there's like an easy way to go about this. This is not down enough quite yet. There we go. Now we're ready to refasten the 5 T30 Torx bolts. That's the lock set in the tail replaced. And actually, to prove that the new lock cylinder works, we're going to put this rear pylon in place. So there it is, it's locked. Here's the new key. Look at that. Works like it should. And we'll try to put this back in. Key is out, locked in, good to go. And the final thing that we're gonna do today is attach the little tiny CR sticker. Here's the final product. That new windscreen looks like a mirror. That's crazy. What do you think, Piper? My opinion, the 1125R does look good at certain angles. However, I did own a 1125 CR years ago and I absolutely loved it. It was kind of sad when I sold it, but then again, I feel that way whenever I sell any motorcycle. The airbox is not fully attached, nor is the rear seat. All of these components for the airbox, that stuff still needs to go in. But I'm waiting to do that because I am going to be doing a stator. So to get the wiring harness, just to simplify things, I am not fully attaching those so I can pull those off, pull that stator wiring harness out much more easily with that all being removed. But overall, I am very pleased. This is a conversion that you can bust out in a weekend. Prices will vary. I highly recommend sourcing parts from eBay. If you're looking for new stuff, definitely check out St. Paul Harley-Davidson. Hardest part of this conversion would definitely be the wire extensions. You'll have to extend 2 wires for the clutch safety switch as well as 2 wires for the brake light switch. But that's it. The other components work out pretty well. Now, you only need to extend those if you go with the high bar kit. If you go with the Clubmans, then you're fine with the throttle cables, and you don't need to extend either one of these wires. Clutch, bleeding the front brake system, but again, that is in relation to the high bar kit. If you don't do that, then you don't have to mess with that. Check out the turn signals. So I do have hyperflash. I'll have to look up to see if I can remedy that, but I believe it's actually controlled within the instrument cluster, and I don't think there'll be a way to remedy that, but I'm not really concerned too much about that. I thought about going with the factory mirrors with the built-in turn signals, but those are so expensive now, so that's kind of why I ended up just pulling these out of my toolbox I had laying around. And I will have to get some mirrors. I may go with bar end mirrors, but more than likely I will just utilize pulling out these caps and then just threading in some regular mirrors in there. But overall, extremely pleased with the result. A little bit of time, a little bit of effort. and I think, in my opinion, it was well worth it. So if you like this video, series of converting this Buell 1125R into a CR, definitely give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I have a bunch of stuff out there on YouTube. And with that being said, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch your friends next time.